So with too much circulating estrogen from the previous cycle that didn't get broken down, or the liver does also break down fat whenever it can. It's like its second job to do whenever it's got the time. And then more estrogen is often comes out from that, as well as whatever else is, everything gets sent to the fat to hide away, to deal with when we can. And often that happens, doesn't even happen. So we make so too much estrogen, and then the matching high level of progesterone to get to the luteal phase leads to problems in the luteal phase and longer cycles. So the second half of the cycle is the deflammatory part of the cycle. This is the inflammatory, because estrogen is inflammatory, and as the estrogen and progesterone levels go down, it's the deflammatory phase of the cycle. And if one has had a long time with increased estrogen and increased inflammation, she will have hormone levels higher than normal. So increased progesterone levels cause constipation, burping, farting, and she can't excrete the toxins because her bowels are not working properly because of the high progesterone. Stomach feels bloated, she feels uncomfortable and inflamed, and that makes the whole problem worse. So nipple soreness is another indicator of hormonal levels. So nipple soreness and sensitivity is associated with rising levels of estrogen and can indicate the degree of estrogen levels. So if you start getting sore nipples like here, then that means your estrogen level is super duper high. So anything like from day 6 on, nipple tenderness or soreness is a too high estrogen level. And breast pain on the sides, like here, is about high progesterone. And if you've got a high progesterone, you have that because you have a high estrogen, because the progesterone's gone high to match the estrogen. So these are ways our body is telling us that our levels are high. And if you load yourself with more toxins during week 1 and 2, the liver will deal with them first before doing anything about estrogen levels. So that's when you get the nipple and breast soreness as an indicator. So, I mean, obviously we want to reduce the toxins all the time, but there's some pivotal moments like here and here that will directly affect. So increased toxins in the body and the inflammatory state of estrogen dominance causes problems in the gut. And gut problems cause sugar cravings. And then the gut gets worse. And the liver tries to get the sugar levels down and deal with the toxins, and this often results in more belly fat being laid down every month as the liver sends the unprocessed toxins and estrogen into the fat. So, you know, these are all very common experiences. And tomorrow I'm talking about the REDTalk project, which has basically been some research into the experience of menstruation and menarche menstruation and menopause for many women. What we learned from that research that pertains to this is that by ignoring, pathologizing, denigrating, and even disappearing the menstrual cycle of women, we acquiesce to a modern culture of shame, harmful beliefs, negative body image, and dissuasion and ignorance of healthy self-care practices, all of which have a profound and largely unacknowledged impact over a woman's lifetime and play out in her menstrual cycle. So menstrual shame is the dominant experience in our culture, maybe not in this conference, but out there fully is. And that is because of the menstrual taboo, which has been in place for the last several thousand years and has its roots in all the religions that have been created by humanity. Way back in their beginning stories, women are seen as impure and unclean, and blood is evil, and the stories are ridiculous, but the effects have been passed down in the practices that we see today. So on an individual level, what this is all telling us is that women are experiencing the signs and symptoms of the effects of a polluted environment within and without. So that includes the stresses of our modern lifestyle, the lack of prioritising self-care that's required for a healthy menstrual cycle. It's not like it's an indulgence. It's actually what we must do, and if we don't do it, we pay. If you don't look after yourself here and honour the blood time in whatever way you know you need to and your body is telling you, don't worry, you'll hear about it over here. And then that'll impact that, and it's like this doom loop. So this is really the place where you can begin the healing of how you honour yourself on an individual level. And also the internalized patriarchy. Keep going, don't stop. And internalized misogyny, you know, like self-loathing, actually. And our red thread wounds, which are, we are simply representing whatever has happened in our mother line, you know. So we're just the next version of the story that will be huge and have all sorts of dramas and damage and wounds on so many levels. Mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great. So we're the current version of that, whatever that looks like in our body. So, and the worse you feel, the worse you treat yourself. Self-care goes down and we make worse choices. And we're taught to mask our problems and not talk about them. So as a vital sign, the menstrual cycle in its pathology tells us about the condition of our liver and the results of what we eat and drink. Our sedentary lifestyle, you know, this is sitting around, and our lack of exercise and our stress levels and the burdens we carry and the emotional loads that we carry and the guilt and all of that, you know, that's stress, that makes cortisol, that messes with this. Because your liver's busy trying to unpoison you from the cortisol that you've been making, which is basically adrenaline, so that you can, your body will work properly, which then results in estrogen dominance, blah, blah, blah. What is this telling us on a collective level? That the effects on our body of misogyny, internalized patriarchy, the menstrual taboo at play, pollution, stress, trauma, the effects of mobile phones, Wi-Fi, like, you know, we're going to look back on this time and go, whoops, we made some pretty significant mistakes. And also the lack of prioritising women's health care and the collective female pain body. So we each have our own pain body, which is everything on pain and whatever that we've experienced that we carry with us in an energetic level, and then there is the combination of every woman's pain body, which is the collective feminine pain body. And it's said that often that's what we tap into here when we, in our own experience, we tap into the collective experience. It's like, that's happening all the time because women are all connected to each other. Like, so often when women are giving birth, they say, I linked in with all the women who have given birth, you know, so that's when we link into all the women who are menstruating. So it's the collective experience is playing out as well. And so just quickly, because we're nearly finished, what are we going to do about this? So first of all, to understand that the body speaks to us with symptoms and of something, an alert, got to do something, not ignoring it, and to use biofeedback. In other words, see how your body reacts to things like that you can calm yourself down with. So meditation. So begin a meditation process and journal to see the actual effects that has, so that you know, okay, this is working, and do more of that. And meditation, you can bring that in like a practice in the morning for whatever, but you can also turn everything into a meditation by bringing mindfulness to everything you do, and therefore decreasing your stress levels, therefore decreasing your cortisol, therefore deloading the liver's job so that it can start to metabolize the estrogens in preparation for the beginning of the next cycle. Exercise helps remove estrogen and makes the body more efficient as the body deals with cortisol first, then estrogen. Watch your diet. As I said, eat organic food to reduce the toxins that you're putting in your body. Maybe we need to support our livers with some supplements, and the things to use are called cofactors. So I can't tell you what to go and get. You've got to do the research, but for liver health. And vitamin B6 apparently is something that is really necessary. And the pill depletes B6. And then in terms of eating, it's the indoles that we want to eat. That's broccoli, kale and cauliflower kinds of foods have this special thing called indoles, which are helpful in the process. And more than anything, in the experience of our cycle, to plan our lives around it. So see if you can have time off here, or early nights, or less travel, or whatever. Do your out there-ness up there, and reduce your stress and reduce the toxins that you're taking in. So stop drinking plastic bottled water. That could be just one thing. Don't eat estrogen-rich foods. Take control back of your life. Endometriosis is polycystic ovary syndrome is basically estrogen dominance to the max, and endometriosis is one of the government has finally decided to actually do something about helping with endometriosis research and care. That's just new, because it's the thing that takes the record common thing is it takes 10 years to get even diagnosed if you've got endometriosis. But one of the things about endometriosis is, just quickly, that we all send endometrial cells out of our fallopian tubes into the rest of our body all the time. That happens. But our macrophages, which are the white cells that go and eat up the whatever that's not supposed to be wherever it is, eat the endometrial cells up. And so if you have an acute immune problem for whatever reason, like your immunity isn't as good as it's supposed to be, then that process can be disturbed, and the endometrial cells lodge onto wherever they lodge onto, and then they experience the menstrual cycle the same as the endometrium in the womb does, therefore pain and all of that. So could be, there's not enough research gone into this, but the supposition is that it could be a result of inflammation of estrogen dominance that then affects your immune system, that then affects your ability to eat up the random endometrial cells and not get endometriosis. So step one for all of this is reduce stress and toxins and help the body, support the liver to get you back into a healthy state.